Welcome to the WealthGenius Podcast. The WealthGenius Podcast. Strategies for multifamily real estate investing, mindset, community, success. The WealthGenius Podcast with your host, the godfather of real estate, Alfonso, who has expansive experience in business and massive success as a real estate investor. The WealthGenius Podcast. Let's dive into today's episode.
Yes, sir. 2024.
I'm excited.
We've been buds for a long time. We were on the road together. So thank you for coming on the show. I wanted to dive deep on who Kyle Ford is and your story. So why don't you start there?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it and appreciate being here, and always a pleasure to spend some time with you.
Yeah.
You're someone I look up to, and I credit a lot to where I've gotten in this business. So those times on the road, we've
like roadies.
Roadies, yeah. We you go deep, right? You know, traveling the country with friends and fellow investors. Beautiful times. So I always start with I'm a husband and a father first.
Yes, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Number two now. So we have two boys, a 3.5-year-old and a 6-week-old. So
wow.
That's amazing. The
first thing I said to you, how you doing? Is I barely got any sleep.
Yeah. tired. Not as tired as Chelsea, but tired nonetheless. Yes. So and that's something you've heard my story when we were on the road. I always used to talk about helicopters and Ferraris.
Yes.
And you always talk about your purpose and your why. And when you have kids, that you really start to appreciate that, right? And over the last, it's crazy to say this, I've been in financial services for 12 years, but I've been investing for 9. Mm-hmm. And I still feel like the newbie. I still feel like the young guy in the back of the room. But it's almost a decade in real estate and over a decade in financial services. So, it's amazing how your journey changes and your investment strategies change, and your clarity becomes much more straightforward. So,
do you find that you found purpose or drive? Because when I met you, you were not married and you did not have any kids, but you were still very driven. But you wanted, again, the helicopters, Ferraris. Do you find that having a family just gave you more of a drive?
Yeah, the drive was for dollars in the bank account, and I didn't know that's what it was, but I did. I was chasing dollars, but now what I chase is being present at 4:00 when my little guy gets home from school or daycare.
Beautiful,
right? Yeah. When being able to help him with dinner and help him, just being present and available and creating and using real estate to create that freedom for me. So a lot of things that I'm doing in my portfolio right now are really about alignment with my personal life and making sure that my investments are solving the problems, not the reason for my problems. So
how do you do that? Like, how do you align with, obviously you need to spend time with the family.
Yeah.
And most people think about a sacrifice, right? So I have to sacrifice, going out there, making money to not spend time with my family. So I'm going to give up spending time. If I'm going to build a business, even though I'm building this business for the family, but it's almost like, I feel sometimes people think they have to sacrifice certain things.
Yeah. And I feel like I did. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's part of your learning and your growth. And I think I did. And I did for a lot of times. I talk about being present when my 3.5-year-old is home. The truth was, in the first 2 years of his life, I was working like a dog, and I wasn't particularly present. And it's in the last 18 months that I've really, realized that I've missed that. And I have a second chance with a second son, and I want to be more present in his early years because you don't get that time back. So in terms of my investments, and my business, it's the last 18 months have been a lot of no's, saying no to things.
The power of the no.
The power of the no. And it's empowering saying no. And that means turning down deals that are good. Yeah. It's a good deal. And maybe even a great deal. But if it takes time away from my business, my family, and I can do other great deals that don't take that time away. Yeah. So now it's not just dollars in a bank account. It's dollars in a bank account is what's helping buy the freedom. So it's still relevant. The money's important. It's kind of up there with oxygen, you know?
You got to breathe.
You got to breathe.
You got to make money.
You got to make money. But a great deal isn't just about the dollars and cents. It's about the measure of time it takes and stress.
Yeah.
I don't want to be stressed out.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, I don't want to die of a heart attack. I want to live to enjoy what we've created. So,
So how does someone make a decision? I feel when people get into real estate, it's like shiny object syndrome, right? So they want to do everything. I want to do this. I want to do that. And so how do you make that decision of saying no, and you don't get caught up with the FOMOs, right? Fear of missing out. This is the most powerful force in the universe. It gets people to do dumb stuff, and that is why, some people, unfortunately, are in trouble because of trying to do everything and be all things and do everything and trying to take on every opportunity. And, maybe not every opportunity was for them.
Right.
So how does someone navigate through that? Like, what would you say?
Well, I did it. I've done every strategy.
Yeah.
I did every one, and most of all, they went good.
Yeah.
Like I actually had success in basically every strategy I've done.
Yeah.
I have single family rentals, single family flips, small multis, large multis, cottage rentals, major construction, new builds, large multifamily, land development, lending. I've really done it all.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've learned in that is that's what's stretching me thin. That's what's taking the time. Instead of digging a deep hole and building a high rise, I built a low rise subdivision.
Yeah.
Right. I'm spaced out. I'm thin. And the challenge that caused for me, it was difficult to hire because it was like, okay, so you're going to help me with this. And then they get the hang of it. And now
we're doing this.
We're doing this. And they're like, what are we doing? What company is that? There's another corporation. And so it became difficult to hire. So kind of going back over to that last 18 months, I've been streamlining my business, streamlining the number of companies, streamlining the partnerships, getting rid of deals that some of the properties that I liked the property. I liked it, but it didn't align with the company's direction, which was also my personal time. So I had to get rid of those properties. I had to end some partnerships, and then not on a bad note.
Yeah.
It was that partner and I weren't going to do multiple deals together anymore.
No longer in alignment with where you're going.
That's right. So I can't have a company with that person filing the taxes, doing all that work for one or two properties wasn't a good use of my time. So I need to be in partnerships that had more vertical integration, that had more, and we were going to do more deals together.
Yeah.
So I guess to net that out, where I'm at in my business right now is where we still have some assets that maybe we don't see long term, and we're looking at selling this year. So some of those are the more singles, big buildings, big apartment buildings.
You say the singles. That brings warmth to my heart because I've been playing this drum for a long time. Like the ones and twosies are gonna get people in trouble, and they're not. It's really tough to make a go out of it.
Well, and here's the thing, Alfonso. These are short-term rentals. We are actually making money on them, but not relative to the amount of effort that goes in from the output.
Yeah,
I can make money on it. I can be in the black on it. But when I factor in the mental energy that I'm putting into the black, is that time better spent on bigger deals? And it is.
Bandwidth.
This is a major thing that the ROB, what's the return on the bandwidth? My mental capacity, what is it worth? And what can I allocate that to that generates a higher rate of return? And a higher rate of return in alignment with my life and my family. So
what are the I guess, what does the business look like now for you? Further, I want to go back to the beginning. So first of all, tell us where you're at right now. What are the companies? What are you building? What are we growing?
Yeah. So my major focus is on CapGap Mortgage Trust.
Yeah.
So that is my private fund designed to help real estate investors or passive investors invest in real estate, generate passive returns with secured mortgages. No napkins, no IOUs, no promissory notes, secured mortgages.
Yeah.
So CapGap is my major focus. As we see as the industry starts to change around private lending and compliance and restrictions, and hearing some horror stories that have happened, CapGap is going to be an amazing solution for investors to get that consistent, secured return in real estate while having underlying security. So CapGap is my main focus. I'm blessed to have a very successful mortgage business. I've been a mortgage agent now for 6 years, finishing in the top 1% of Mortgage Alliance last 3 years.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. We'll see. I may be number one this year. The results come out in a couple of days, so we're going to find out if I finish number one overall. Okay. We have the cottage and hotel business, and that's a business that we are getting out of the cottages to focus more on the hotel. And this is classic monopoly. Mm-hmm. We had at one point 14 cottages.
Wow.
Singles. And we were making money. We were making money on every one. But we've been selling the singles and we bought the hotel because there's vertical integration, economies of scale. And then I'm not planning on growing the hotel business too much, but just keeping the one that we have.
I don't want to cut you off, but what drove you to the hotel business? You know, was it attractive to you? Because people ask me about the hotel business, and I'm like, guys, it's real estate, but it's a business. It's like you're operating a company. You got to have a general manager, employees, marketing. I mean, this is a whole a whole other playing field. So, what got you into it?
Well, it was the same integration from the onesies, twosies, and foursies into big buildings. Hiring a GM actually sounded good to me when my wife and I were driving ourselves crazy, managing 14 cottages all over the place. And I just like having small rental properties all over the place, buying the big building and hiring a property manager versus having all of these individual cottages. It was the natural integration, natural evolvement.
Yeah.
I'm also, I'm a big believer in going with the direction of the government in the sense of not trying to fight them.
Yeah.
The government at all levels, there's a all-out attack on, short-term rentals.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use the specific websites because that's just a booking platform.
Yeah.
They're going after short-term rentals.
Yeah.
And so by going into the hotel space, you're zoned and licensed. So you can still use those same platforms to generate bookings, but you're not under the same restrictions. Mm. So the hotel to me was a more long-term scalable and not at risk to government intervention, not at risk to the government coming in and saying you can't do this. To put it into perspective, throughout the pandemic, hotels were allowed to operate, individual cottages weren't. Mm. So that was a big aha for me, being like, this is a more long-term protected strategy.
I like that. Now, sorry, I had cut you off, but you were explaining your business, CapGap, the hotels and the mortgage business,
and big buildings.
Yes.
So the mortgage business and CapGap are very much intertwined. The hotel is something that we're going to keep long term and not grow. And then I'm really gone back to my roots and something that you've talked about for years. And I went and tested all the other theories to make sure you were right. And you were. And I'm back to the big buildings. So buying I like to buy underperforming buildings that are in really, really rough condition, and turn those buildings around. Now, we're not in the business of kicking people out. But we are buying buildings that are in extreme dilapidated repair and need major overhaul.
Yeah.
Which
is good for the community. It's good for the people living there. I was talking to someone. They're like, "Oh, you go in these buildings and you're gonna kick people out of their apartments, but they're not living in good conditions, right? Some of these underperforming buildings because probably the owner bought it, probably overpaid, didn't calculate the expenses, doesn't have enough money to put into the building or doesn't want to put in money in the building. And then these buildings deteriorate over time and people are not living in good conditions, right? And so in some cases that I've seen, some real health concerns for some of these people.
I couldn't agree more. And the conditions that they're living in I'm of the belief are making them sick.
Yeah.
These buildings are disgusting.
Yeah.
And whoever's fault it is irrelevant.
Yeah.
But when we're going to go in, we're going to get these buildings up to today's standards. We're not slumlords. We're going to get them in good shape. So
yeah.
I make my money in my businesses, and I park my wealth in real estate, which is going to be big buildings.
Which is like, this is the formula of all the wealthiest people in the world, right? And I've been playing the same beat for a long time. I've been sharing that with people for the longest time. This is the best way to hedge against inflation, market changes, city changes, or municipality changes. And we talked about short-term rentals where it's good on Friday, but maybe on Monday we're going to take it away. And so this is, out of all the lords, there's only one lord left, is the landlord.
Yeah. Yes. I love it.
Okay. So you built this beautiful real estate business. So now let's go back to the beginning. And how did it start for you? Where did it all start?
Yeah. So, I got serious about investing in 2015. In 2012, I started off at 22 years old as an independent financial advisor. So as an independent financial advisor, I was with a major insurance company, and they teach you that they're going to go out, they're going to teach you how to get clients. But the truth is you go into your friends and family.
Yeah.
And
warm market.
Warm market.
People that are going to do it for you to get you going.
Yeah. And I guess I was just mostly shocked by the people that I thought were in a good financial position. And I'm the one doing the calculations and understanding that they really weren't in that great of a position. But the only thing that I know.
How old were you?
I was 22 at the time.
22. So now you've seen these adults, grown people.
50 plus, parents, aunts, uncles.
And all the people that you were maybe holding up in like high regard in terms of like, oh, they've done it. They've made it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not that they were going to lose everything, but they had no retirement. There was no retirement plan. And if there was a retirement plan, there was a massive pay cut. But what I did start to notice is the real estate. All the other investments weren't going so well. Maybe they had a pension and that was their saving grace, but those aren't particularly available like they were to our parents' generation. So I really noticed that. And then I would run into people with a rental property or two. And I started looking how that was going to impact their retirement. And I really started gravitating towards real estate. 2015, I went, an HGTV star was coming to my town. So I went to the event, and I candidly was going there to solicit for insurance sales. I'm like, oh, these people are buying real estate. I'm going to try to get some insurance sales. But I was very humbled by the strategies and very humbled by what I was seeing and this different way of thinking. So I got involved with that organization and learned a lot. And between 2015 and 2018, I was kind of living a double life. I was the financial advisor,
by day,
mutual funds, RSPs, TFSAs by day. And I was going out and buying real estate on weekends and in the evenings and on the road. And at the end of 2018, the branch manager kind of pulled me in and said, listen, I love you. I think you're a great guy and you're going places, but you got to leave. You got to go. And I'm like, why? He's like, because all the guys back at the table are too busy talking to you about real estate and not selling insurance. So you're going in a different direction.
You're a distraction.
You're a distraction. Love you. Everything's good, but this is better for you and better for me. And it was. And in January 1st, 2018, I made a big decision. And that date's relevant in the industry because that's when the stress test started and the B20 rules came down. And a lot of brokers started leaving the space. And I made the decision that I'm going to get out of financial advising and I'm going to become a mortgage agent. I'm going to, start helping people.
Was that a natural transition for you? Like, was it like, did some of the skill sets, or maybe not skill sets, but some of the knowledge that you gained being an insurance agent, did it help you in the mortgage space? It
did. And the major thing is just understanding how to talk to people about money. Right. And being a person, a money manager and a person who's handling money and dealing with people's money. So absolutely. It was a fairly easy transition. 2018, got into the mortgage space and kind of just went crazy from there. And I did all the strategies. I was doing all sorts of different real estate, flipping, buying and holding cottages, growing my mortgage business. Yeah. So kind of the tipping point for me, a year after becoming a mortgage agent, I got a call from my lawyer, January 2019. And he goes, tell people that you have private money. And I said, do I? Like, do I have private money? He's like, yeah, I've got a lot of clients with private money. Let your clients know that you have access. Don't say it's you. Say you have access to private money. Okay. And what a change that was from being a financial advisor, asking people to give me money, to now being a mortgage agent, offering not only conventional money, but saying I have private money. Well, the business trajectory just went like this. When you're the person who has the capital to fund people's deals, I got in the way. There was a big transition from the restrictions around conventional lending. There was a massive demand for private capital, people looking for secured lending solutions. And I just kind of got in the way of all that. And it was, I got to call Kyle. Kyle has access. Kyle can do secured lending. Olympia, I believe it was in 2021, changed the rules that you had to have an administration license in order to handle some of the mortgages.
I think that was 2021.
2021 or 2022, maybe 2022.
As a result of that one thing out west.
Yes, yes. Well, so just, I guess, a stroke of luck, my broker already had one. So all these other brokerages were scrambling, deals were falling apart because Olympia changed this rule. And within a week, we're like, hey, we're good to go. We can administer. So just kind of being in the way of the private money, in the wave of the private money was a massive benefit to me. So.
This is a question that just came up right now and really has nothing to do with your story. But why do you think Olympia changes things? Are they liable? Because really they're just a platform. I mean, they're just holding the money, right? The decisions are made by the individuals, but are they liable in some way for any bad decisions that someone's going to make?
I really want to be careful about how I answer this question.
Yeah, that's what it just occurred to me. I mean, like they change things so much, and I'm wondering, is it because there's a liability there, or is it because because it's the government's pushing for that? Or
so I would say there is a lot of pressure, understanding that most people are using Olympia Trust to handle their registered plans. Okay. So their registered plans are dictated by CRA. CRA is the one who's dictating the terms. And Olympia has always aligned with CRA's broader guidelines.
Yeah.
And what's happened recently is Olympia is coming a little inside the guidelines. These were the guidelines. You can go here, and Olympia aligned with that. But I think what was happening in that case out west, people were going to the guidelines. Olympia was at the guidelines. And then when people were pushing those guidelines, it created offsides. So I think Olympia is looking, and tightening things up. So they're like, there's the line. We're going to just be a little inside it in case something goes wrong. And
fair enough.
And I want to give this example. The RSP limit loan to value is 100% LTV. Olympia recently reduced their internal LTV to 90%. There's uproar over this. Here's what people don't understand. If you are a lender, if I'm lending money to Alfonso and I'm at 100% loan to value, and a year after that deal happens, you need an extension. Something happened, you need some more time. If the extension just happens, it's okay. But if there's any change on that required, Olympia will require, or CRA will require, an updated appraisal. If my loan is now above 100% loan to value, my funds are at risk of deregistration and fully taxable.
Wow. Yeah.
So I think that this reduction to 90%, I'm in support of. I think 90% is a plenty aggressive LTV.
Listen, put 10% on the deal.
Put 10% in the deal. It's not that. And I think a lot of lenders, when they realize that's the risk, I want a little bit of a buffer. I think it's I'm in support of it. Unfortunately, in every industry, there's some bad apples. And their behavior ruins it for the rest of us. And we have an incredible relationship with Olympia. These restrictions that they've put in, I think, are to ultimately benefit the investors. And the only ones who are complaining are the borrowers who now have to put 10% into the deal. And I don't think that's the end of the world.
Yeah. You want to have some skin in the game.
Have some skin in the game.
So I didn't want to interrupt you. I just had that thought when you said Olympia, but you were talking about your story and how we got here. Yeah.
So the private money is really, what helped me grow and scale. I think it's important that we talk about in 2024, the folks that are using private money need to be careful. Okay. And there was, when we were in this major upswing for many years, using private money was a great tool to maintain.
Because everything's going up.
Everything's going up.
Life is good.
Life is good.
Life is good.
I talk to, life is good. I say this all the time. When I started in 2015, it's kind of when the real estate communities got really big. And I grew up in real estate la land. It only went up. Everything was good. You did a bad deal, the value went up. No worries. So in 2024, one of the things that I'm personally going back to on some of my big buildings is I'm doing partnerships. I'm doing less private capital in the deal, less of a burn rate, bringing in some real equity partners, high net worth folks that are looking to park cash in real estate. And I'm giving up a little bit of my upside, but I have less risk, less stress. I'm better aligned with my family, my values, all of those things. So I think and
there's not this like gun to your head. Right? Like, the second you borrow money, the clock is ticking, right? And any time wasted, any deviation from the plan, it's going to affect you at the end of the day when the mortgage is due, the payment is due, and you're delayed, you don't have it. Now you got to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. And it just creates this anxiety in the market where it's not necessary. Bring in partners. We win together, we lose together. Right. If the project gets delayed, we'll try not to make it delayed, but things happen. This is real estate. If it's delayed, we're all delayed, right? The money's delayed, right? And so, we're going to try to, make sure that we get it to the finish line. And then this is when we're all going to win.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the one calculation that's not talked a lot about on these bigger projects is the burn rate. And how much money the project is eating until it's profitable. And where problems are happening is when people are using borrowed money to service that burn rate.
Yeah.
And by bringing in equity partners, we have real cash in that's coming out of our profits, but we're not borrowing additional debt to service that burn rate. And it has to do with what's called, risk adjusted return.
Yeah.
I can get a higher return by borrowing that money for the burn rate because I own 100% of the deal. Yeah. But by doing that, we're not taking any risk adjustment into the factor. And by taking equity partners, my return drops, but my risk adjusted return is so much more comfortable and in line with what I'm trying to do.
I love it. I think this is a great conversation for 2024 because, everybody in the industry that I meet, I would say not everybody, but a good majority of the people that I've been meeting these days, they're like, well, everything kind of slowed down and the things are dried up and there's no deal flow. And I'm like, well, no, we're kind of back to the way things were back in 2019. And then they were like, well, I wasn't an agent back in 2019.
Right. Right.
And so what happened is like everybody magically became a real estate professional in 2020, right? This is why we can't get people to work at restaurants. The restaurants are closing at 11 at night because there's no staff because everybody during COVID became agents and mortgage brokers. But, ultimately people are just not aware of, market cycles and how things are. And you can make money in any cycle, but ultimately you got to be careful, right? And if you're going to be borrowing money, you have to understand you're going to have to pay that back, right? And what's the plan? What are the exits? What's your exit strategies? And I'm a big believer in having like 10 different exit strategies, because you know what? It's a big responsibility to borrow money, and people don't see it that way because they don't have skin in the game. But when you have skin in the game, you're like, well, I don't want to lose my money, you know?
Yep.
And everybody talks about OPM, right? OPM has been huge. There's been books written about it. OPM, it's on every infomercial or Facebook ad or whatever. Come to my event. You're going to learn about OPM, but people don't talk about LOPM, losing other people's money. And that's important because, right now in 2024, there's massive opportunities. And I'm excited.
Me too.
But you can't go in there blind, and you can't be there thinking that, you're going to borrow all of this money and do it with all of this other people's money. You got to have some skin in the game, right? So what do you think about that?
I couldn't agree more. And there's a couple things you said in there. And in terms of OPM and other people's money, going back to my financial advising days and then coming into a mortgage agent, managing people's money, I've raised a significant amount of capital for both businesses, and I have a substantial amount of money that I manage for people. Probably a lot more than people understand. And the reason why I've been able to raise that money is because it's not a gimmick to me. OPM isn't a gimmick.
Yeah.
OPM is a responsibility, and it's not other people's money. It's Alfonso's home equity that he worked his butt off for. Yeah. And he's trusted me to put it into his deal. Yeah. It's Helene's retirement account that she worked at her other business for years to create. Mm-hmm. It's your daughter's registered education plan.
Yeah.
You've been scraping and clawing for this for years, and that's the money. So people borrow this money and like, oh yeah, I got it from an RSP, 100% LTV, and they're posting about it. How do you think it makes the lender feel when they see that and seeing that you're treating it as a gimmick and as a game? And I think that's a massive shift, that if people start treating OPM like what it is, how important it is, the LPM becomes easy.
Yeah.
I can't lose this.
Yeah.
I can't. I will do everything I can. And you're going to actually raise way more money.
Yeah. Because people, you know what? I sometimes I talk to investors. They're like, well, I'm scared of working with other people's money because I'm scared to lose it. I'm like, you're the best person. If I'm gonna be investing with someone, I want them to be scared. I want them to. This is not a game, right? And this is important, especially with what's happening in 2024. And so I want to kind of shift there. What are you most excited about in 2024?
Well, we've talked about this for years. The most massive shift of wealth.
Yes.
It started a couple of years ago. We're in the midst of it. And every year I think it's getting bigger and bigger. And I want to be in that wave. I want to be in the way of that shift of wealth. I'm really excited about the opportunity on all scales for large investors to scale up. But I think we're a new window, and it's been tough for the last couple of years for a brand newbie to kind of break into this. But I think that opportunity is there. Yeah. VTBs are back. Yes. They're not back. They've always been there. I've been doing VTB, but they're more appreciated longer term. You can negotiate terms.
Yeah.
You can make an offer and with a conditional period and negotiate it. So I'm super excited for the wealth shift that's happening. I'm excited for the opportunities for seasoned investors to scale. And I'm excited for the opportunities for that next wave of investors to come in, and I think this is one of the greatest opportunities they're going to have to break in. Yeah. There's a lot of memes on Instagram right now talking about the people that bought between December 1st and February 28th. We're going to look back at those people as...
I was going to say about that. I was going to say that the Fed recently in the U.S., they've announced that they are planning to bring down the rates. I think probably they're saying three or four times this year. And obviously Canada is always going to follow suit, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so what do you think is going to happen? What would happen if they went down by 50 basis points? What happens?
Here's what I'll say. We're here in very early 2024 right now. And the uptick in the last 30 days, just off them saying they're going to do it.
Yeah.
The pent up demand is there. There's a supply and demand. We're undersupplied with over demand. Canadians have just sat on the sidelines because we're conservative. We don't want to go first. We want to make sure everyone else is everyone else going, then I'll go too.
Yeah.
But even just the talk of them cutting rates has already triggered the demand. I mentioned those in our mortgage business. We're getting a ton of calls from the folks that had one rental property, but kind of sat on the sidelines because they were nervous. And I don't blame them for being nervous.
Yeah.
It was a scary time. They're hey, can we talk about that HELOC? Can we talk about that refi? We're thinking we got a property we've been kicking tires on, and that it's starting to happen. The second those rates start dropping, it's going to go bananas. It's going to go crazy again. The demand's there. We have a supply issue. I don't want to get political here, but it does appear that some of the gatekeeping is loosening up a little bit.
Choice.
There's no choice. There's so much pressure on it. So could it be better? Yes. But it does look like I'm seeing a bunch of projects that fellow colleagues are in that have been in site plan approval process for years. We're seeing draft plans come through. We're seeing conditional approvals come out.
Green light.
So that's all super positive. And the answer, that was a long answer to your question, but when we see a 50-point drop, just the conversation of a 50-point drop has already started the uptick when it actually drops.
So going back to what you said, people that bought real estate all the way up to the end of February, right? I mean, I can only imagine where the people that have been on the sidelines are going to be and what kind of activity we're going to see. So I'm going to wait for it. This is time-stamped right here. This is what I love about the internet and podcasts. And it's time-stamped. We're early 2024. We'll see where everything goes. Kyle, I love you. You're my brother. Thank you for coming on the show. I want to leave it off with something inspirational. Congratulations on your success. Congratulations on your family and everything you've done. What is a quote that you live by? What's that one phrase that that you put up on your wall, or you heard it once and you're just inspired by it, you're just driven by, and then ultimately why? Well,
the phrase on my wall is "Early bird gets the Lambo." And people ask me about that one all the time. They say, well, you don't get up that particularly early. And I'm like, it's not about time of day. It's about time of action.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily wait for the masses to make a decision. I'm investigating early and trying to get ahead of it. Yeah. So early bird gets Lambo. I don't have a 5 a.m. routine. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest about that. But that I'll be a little bit facetious there. I'm going to give another one. And there was this person spoke at an event that I was at many, many years ago, and he was a mortgage broker, and he's recently passed. And he said something at that event that really impacted how I went about getting money, how I went about raising capital, how I behave as a mortgage agent. And this isn't it's kind of tactical advice for investors, which is he or she that has the gold. This is the golden rule. Sorry, this is the golden rule. They who have the gold makes the rules.
Love it.
So when you're trying to talk to your mortgage broker and you do more documents,
do you want the money or what?
Do you want the money or what? When you're meeting with a private investor and the one spouse is really on board, but the other spouse is nervous and asking you a bunch of questions. This is their retirement. This is their everything. Take your time and answer their questions. Don't just answer their questions. Listen about their tone and what they're asking for, because what they're asking is probably not the surface level about the rate of return. They're worried.
Yeah.
So they who have the golden rule in real estate is they who have the gold makes the rules. And we all need capital for our business. So we have to follow those rules. And the good news is there is an abundance of capital out there. So if you don't like someone's rules, don't burn the bridge. Hey, that doesn't work on this deal. I'm going to go find somebody else who has different rules on this loan. So the golden rule, they who have the gold makes the rules. Also, early bird gets the Lambo.
I love that. Early bird gets the Lambo. Okay. Kyle, thank you. Thank you, brother. All your information will be down below. So if anybody wants to get a hold of my brother here, Kyle, if anything, for a conversation and talk about real estate, talk shop.
Yeah.
They can find all your information down below.
Great.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Alfonso.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Genius podcast. If you have a question or comment about something you heard today, reach out to the Godfather via social media or email him anytime. All that information is in the show notes. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Wealth Genius podcast. The Wealth Genius podcast. Until next time, see you at the top.